Witches, young and old, know the familiar shape of a pentagram, a 5-pointed star with a circle around it that touches each point, enclosing the star within the circle. This protective symbol has been used for quite some time by pagans, but it is one of the oldest spiritual symbols on the planet. And whilst I myself love the pentagram and the pentacle, the 5-pointed star, symbols of stars, or stars themselves, have been used in humanity's lexicon at least 5,000 years. Welcome back to Wishcrafting, everyone. My name is Wish Amaya. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we are going back to basics a little bit, and we are going to talk about stars and the different number of points on stars and what that can mean and symbolize, and how we can work with that in our practices. Whether you are a new practitioner or a well-seasoned practitioner, I think this episode will have something for everyone. With that, let's waste no time. Let's jump right in. Religions all around the world feature stars in their faiths. Right now, Christians everywhere are topping their Christmas trees with the Star of Bethlehem to represent the birth of Jesus. In Judaism, the 6-pointed Star of David represents all of the good attributes of their God: wisdom, majesty, power, love, mercy, and justice. The mystical and whimsical 8-pointed Star of Islam is used frequently all over Islamic art, but prior to Abrahamic religions and Islam, the 8-pointed star had much further reaches back to ancient Sumer. The 8-pointed star was the symbol of Inanna, Queen of Heaven, Sumerian goddess of sex and war, among other things. Later on, Inanna was conflated with Ishtar, Astarte, and eventually Aphrodite. If you were to draw the number 8 right now, you would see that the line you draw the number 8 with is continuous. It has no beginning and no end. We use this symbol, this figure 8, to represent infinity when it is turned horizontal on its side. And elsewhere in numerology and other esoteric belief systems, the number 8 symbolizes eternity. Therefore, Inanna being anointed with the 8-pointed star is no coincidence. This represented the goddess's place in the heavens, a power so grand that it goes on forever and ever. To the ancient Sumerians, Inanna's power was immense, and it was so intrinsic into the world that it seemed it could never ever end. The 8-pointed star not only recognized that Inanna was divine, but that she was divinity itself. In the modern world, the practice of Wicca, which is a fairly new magical practice, uses the number 8, or the 8-pointed star, to honor the 8 days of power, otherwise known as the Sabbats, or the Wheel of the Year. And in modern day and days of old, navigators have used a compass rose, which is an 8-pointed star in its own right, to guide them to and from their comings and goings. So, that being said, the 8-pointed star could be worked with as a symbol of guidance and intuition, as well as a symbol of feminine power and intrinsic divinity. And all of those things put together could make for quite the powerful working. Moving on to the number 7. The number 7, or the 7-pointed star, represents connection, knowledge, wholeness. It represents the unity that comes from bridging the gap between realms. In the Bible, God created the world and rested on the 7th day. So he created the world for 6 days, rested on the seventh. And for that reason, 7 represents the turning of the wheel, the dawn of a new day, a new era, newness, creation. In the New Testament, the number 7 represents the connection between the 4 corners of the world, north, south, east, and west, and the Holy Trinity, so 3 of God, 4 plus 3, 7. The number 7 is also the number that is mentioned the most in the Hebrew Bible, which is very interesting to me. Ancient stargazers recognized and tracked 7 heavenly bodies: the moon, Mercury, Venus, the Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. They worked with these 7 heavenly bodies to tell what time of year it was, to set courses, and to paint their stories of their journeys in the sky through the constellations. The way that these 7 celestial bodies moved at different rates and their relationships to the fixed stars around them formed the basis of early astronomy and astrology, which used to be considered a very academic science. These planets, or 7 heavenly bodies, also corresponded with the idea of 7 heavens. In Islam, Hinduism, and even some ancient Mesopotamian beliefs, each celestial body corresponded with a different realm of heaven. In each realm of heaven, different angels or heavenly beings reside, with the 7th realm of heaven housing the throne of God, or the gods. This is where we get the phrase 7th heaven to describe a state of intense bliss. I was very pleased to find that when doing the research from this episode, because I love uncovering the root of some of these common phrases that we know but don't know where they come from. In Hinduism, there are also believed to be 7 underworld realms, and in Buddhism, it is believed that the Buddha took 7 steps right after being born, which represents his connection to the divine and a fortuitous beginning with his life. In traditional Chinese medicine, a woman's life is measured in 7-year cycles. In modern pagan practices, the 7-pointed star has been used to represent the 4 directions, as well as where they intersect with heaven, earth, and spirit. In fairy faiths or modern pagan practices that work with the fae, it is believed by some, mind you, that the septagram can be used or worked with as a key to move between our realm and the realm of fairy. Some also believe that wearing a septagram gives you the sight, so you can see fairies and communicate with them when you are wearing or carrying a septagram. The 6-pointed star is well known as the Star of David. 2 triangles intertwined, one pointing up, one pointing down, which is a nod to the balancing nature of the number 6. The number 6 represents compassion and luck, and in fact, in Chinese numerology, the number 6 is a very lucky number. In mathematics, 6 is a perfect number, which is a number where all of its divisors, including or excluding the number itself, adds up to a sum that is equal to that number. I might have lost you with that one, but that's okay. All you need to know is that perfect numbers are rare, and thus the number 6 could be used for that reason alone as a powerful aid or talisman in glamour magic, miracle workings, or any other working where you really might need to stand out without chaos. Moving on to the 5-pointed star, which I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, this is the star most commonly worn by pagans of all flavors. The symbol of a pentagram, which I mentioned earlier, is a pentacle, which is a 5-pointed star with a circle around it. And it's important to note that the pentagram always has the point of the star facing upwards, okay? The upside down pentagram is a whole other thing that we're not going to talk about right now. Anyways, if you right now were to stand up and step your feet apart and hold your hands out to your sides, you would see that you naturally form a 5-pointed star. We also have 5 fingers and toes on each hand and foot, and 5 main physical senses, all the ways we use to navigate our physical world around us. This points to the number 5's connection to our physical world. It is the thread between our world and the spiritual planes. It is the tether that connects all of everything that is real and right in front of us to that spiritual vein of energy that flows throughout everything as well. The number 5 represents strength and spirit, as in the element of spirit which connects us to all things. In the Baha'i faith, their prophet, the Bab, wrote their faith's foundings in a 5-pointed star formation on tablets. And this is a super interesting thing to look up. I definitely suggest you do. Baha'i is Bahai. And if you just Google search that, you'll definitely find it and see what I'm talking about. The Baha'i also view the pentacle as a symbolic representation of the body as a physical temple to engage with God, which is kind of what I was saying with the way it is a tether between what is real and in front of us and the flow of spirit that's flowing through it all. So if you were to change that word God to spirit, that's kind of what I was talking about with it being a tether between everything that we can touch and then the flow of spirit that moves through everything. The number 5 is a tool, talisman, symbol, portal into the body as a physical temple to engage with spirit. So, very powerful indeed. In the Sikh faith, there are 5 sacred symbols that they wear to represent their devotion to their faith. In Hinduism, the god Shiva has 5 faces, and they believe in 5 elements: earth, air, water, fire, and space. In Islam, there are 5 pillars of Islam that form the core of their beliefs. In Christianity, Jesus suffers 5 sacred wounds during his crucifixion. For all of these reasons, the number 5 is also deeply associated with devotion. So it's easy to understand why this symbol might be the first one a brand new witch might choose to wear on their new path, and why so many of us still carry them with us on a regular basis. Finally, we get to the 4-pointed star. The 4-pointed star represents stability and balance and is considered by many to have a masculine nature to it. That is because it is connected to the sun, which is widely viewed as masculine, but not viewed as masculine everywhere, so take that or leave it. The 4-pointed star is directly connected back to the cyclical nature of the world and represents the 4 corners of the world in an esoteric concept. So yes, it represents north, south, east, and west, but it represents points that anchor. It represents moving through. It represents light shining down into all of the world. It's directly connected with the sun. So working with the 4-pointed star would be really wonderful to do if you are trying to shine light into something. If you're bringing light to something, illuminating something, or even celebrating something, that could also be a really wonderful time to work with the 4-pointed star. Drawing, wearing, carrying, or otherwise engaging intentionally with the symbol of the star is a very old, simple, and accessible practice, not to be underestimated by any practitioner, new or old. I hope that this episode, this short and sweet episode, has illuminated some things for you, or maybe brought to light a different way to use stars with their different number of points and their symbolism. Wherever you are, I hope that your winter is going smoothly, that you're cozy and warm, and finding moments to breathe and laugh and experience joy. Until next time, thank you so much for hanging out with me on our cozy corner of the World Wide Web. I will see you next time.